Gruen. This week, Chanel, a fashion brand so fancy, its Christmas ads feature beautiful people eating watches, has now released a calendar that really puts the ad in Advent.
This Chanel advent calendar is the most extra thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, extra expensive, costing more than $1,000. It must have some amazing stuff. Let's start at day one.
It starts at day number 5, I guess, for Chanel number 5.
OK, let's start at day 5 then.
So cute. So tiny. My goodness, how many mils is that? 1.5 mils.
Oh, everyone's favourite perfume, Chanel number 1.5. But that's just day 1. Sorry, day 5. I'm sure day 2, day 9 will be better.
This has to be a joke. This is a joke. Stickers? Stickers?
Stick with it. That's just one of the 5 days of stickers. Let's skip to day 17, day 24, day whatever Christmas Eve is. That's got to be good.
It's a flip book.
Oh, great. Now Chanel is literally flipping you off. OK, one more.
This is just a, paperweight.
Oh, great. It can hold down your massive wad of stickers. But I'm sure Chanel fans loved it.
Fuck! What the hell is that?
Probably a paperweight, I'm guessing. This is the worst Christmas gift since myrrh. So I thought I'd release my own, even worse one. Introducing the Chanel Controversy Advent Calendar. It comes with Chanel's plagiarism controversy, Chanel's tax evasion controversy, Chanel's Adele fat-shaming controversy, Chanel's bullying a small Australian chocolate maker controversy, Chanel's banning staff from sitting down controversy, Chanel's boomerang appropriation controversy, which, like all Chanel controversies, keeps coming back. Then there's the Chanel response to controversy.
Chanel just blocked me.
And, of course, the original Chanel controversy, that whole collaborating with the Nazis thing. I learned about that one on the History Chanel. Time to welcome our panel. Russell Howcroft, Emily Taylor, Pia Chowdhury and Dee Madigan sitting in for Todd today. We did it, Australia. We made it to summer and it is time to party.
Well, it's confirmed we're in for a wet and wild summer.
One of the worst mosquito seasons.
Many fear Omicron will crush Christmas.
Oh, I forgot. Everything's awful. Except in ads like this BWS summer campaign, which is trying to convince us its name stands for badly wrapped stuff, barbecue without salad, and badass with sandals. Weird. I thought it was marketers backslapping while selling the bland wine store I go to blotto while shopping. This week, Macca's released its big new summer campaign around a very surprising pit stop.
Boys, I got a whiz, eh?
Again?
You were halfway there. Should have gone with crappers. And typical false advertising, they cut the money shot. Dee, why is Macca's selling themselves as the place to piss?
Anyone who's been on a road trip knows you stop at McDonald's to go to the toilet because the bathrooms are clean, generally. Clean bathrooms are as much a part of the McDonald's brand as Ronald McDonald. In fact, they predate it by 3 years. So Ray Kroc, who bought the McDonald's franchise, when he started his hamburger university in 1961, cleaning toilets was part of the curriculum because he understood that with franchises, conformity of branding is really important. And that doesn't mean all the signs look the same. It means the customer experience should be the same. And someone once asked him what the success of McDonald's was, and he said, "Our bathrooms are clean." And the fact that we are talking about it 60 years later proves just how important it is. And when you build a brand well from the inside out, how strong that brand can be.
I mean, nothing worse than walking into a toilet and finding a floating grimace. So...
Yeah. Hey, it reminds me of the 1992 LA riots, Will. So, as you know...
OK, you know what? I'm already in. Tell me more.
Yeah. So, in 92, as you know, there were the LA riots. They were big. You know, people died, huge amounts of damage. Interestingly, McDonald's were basically untouched throughout the whole of that LA riot period in 92. And that was because the business has done, right back then and right up to now, such a brilliant job at being just part of culture. And they work incredibly hard to ensure that that's the case. And this advertising is just, it's another piece in the puzzle of Macca's just being a part of our everyday life. So for the agency to turn up and say, you know what, we want to tell a story, we're going to cast it like this. The casting is hysterical, it's brilliantly done. We're going to use Bon Jovi. They've got the money to use Bon Jovi. I'm just sort of jealous of them, really, because the strength of that relationship to make advertising like that doesn't come around that often.
If you're advertising toilets, though, should you use Bon Jovi saying it doesn't make a difference if you make it or not?
Yes, because that's why I say that's because they have obviously they've got a really solid relationship with their agency because they're having fun with it.
But I love that they've lent into the halfway there. You know, that is what Macca's represents on the Great Aussie Road Trip. And I wish I had been in that room when someone had the, like, Bon Jovi eureka moment of, oh, we're halfway there, and went, OK, let's buy that track.
Yeah.
McDonald's are just the unofficial sponsor of the Great Aussie Road Trip. I think it's a rite of passage. Whatever your journey, you will find a way to stop at a McDonald's. Even people who don't eat McDonald's won't think twice about having a bacon and egg McMuffin meal at 5 a.m. in the morning when they hit the road. I think it's really smart strategy from the brand and the agency because they've gone, you know what, let's lean into that. This isn't about being a piss stop on your journey. It's about the integral role that McDonald's plays on every Aussie road trip.
This summer, Aussies will eat around 150 million mangoes, thanks to an early bumper crop. Not me, they're yuck. Yep, I said it, cancel me. I've taken on Big Jacaranda and now I'm going after Big Mango. But not before giving Big Mango the right of reply.
With more mango and less seed, Calypso mangoes are totally irresistible.
That's right, kids. Always run towards the weirdo in a van. Personally, I don't trust anyone who combines a business shirt with Aladdin pants. I think that guy's running for mayor of Byron Bay. Calypso mangoes are a registered trademark. I thought the only fruit brand consumers cared about were apples. Emily, are customers loyal to fruit?
Well, maybe not you, and maybe not all fruit, but with Australians and loyalty to mangoes, absolutely. And I think, you know, that tray at the beginning of summer is almost, you know, like a patriotic act. And in fact, my English husband, who is also not a fan of a mango, thinks we are completely mad with our obsession with mangoes. But what I think he doesn't really understand is it's what we've been conditioned to see that tray as representing. It symbolises summer, but also holidays, it's freedom, it's new beginnings, it's, you know, every mouthful of the golden fleshy bit is about, you know, everything that summer is, long evenings and good times. And I just, you know, you don't really get that with an apple.
I think if you ask the average person on the street what a brand of mango is, they'd struggle to answer it. But I think if they walk in a supermarket and they're prompted by seeing the sticker, then they go for it. So it's got some brand awareness, but not high brand awareness. But I still call bullshit on that ad because no child on earth runs past an ice cream van to a mango.
But in the end, it is about familiarity. So the sticker provides familiarity, and not just on mangoes, but, you know, the way a tomato might be packaged, that you are familiar with it and therefore you're more willing to buy. But it also, I think it, reminds me on why brands existed in the first place. So brands were created, we all know about the cows, right? We know that, about branding your stock. But the notion that you would put a name Cadbury on some cocoa, you did that because you, the buyer, could trust that it was actually going to deliver. And it was at a time when, of course, you couldn't trust all foodstuffs. So there was an important element of just the simple notion, this is safe to put into your mouth. So, and it's not going to make you sick.
Nothing says summer like accidentally inhaling Aerogard, so let's inhale its new campaign.
So goodbye and farewell, my old friend. After all these years, we finally reached the end.
You may be surprised to hear Aerogard now also kills bugs in your home with a natural active. But not as surprised as the bugs.
Oh, plant-based Aerogard. I'm sure that wriggling roach really appreciated the slow death. For years, more teen ads have treated insect murder as a grisly crime scene.
We've no idea what killed Roach. We're having trouble smelling any chemicals, Louis.
How can that be? Unless...
Yep, they died of COVID. Russell, what are the rules when depicting insecticide?
Well, the rules in Australia, of course, are you're supposed to sing about it. So, you know, I'm Louis the Fly and more teen and, you know, hit 'em high, hit 'em low, hit 'em with the old Peebo. Aerogard, I think Aerogard got a bit confused because they've said to themselves, well, hang on, our brand is about repellent. So our brand isn't about, it's not about death, that's other people's brands. But I'm not so sure that the consumer, that the buyer really actually thinks about it as much as Aerogard has thought about it. So they've worked so hard to have empathy towards the bug, which just actually doesn't make any sense.
No, and there's a bit of an unspoken rule in advertising that when it comes to animals, you don't normally, you know, only the bravest of brands will show them alive and then dead in the one ad. You know, Maccas don't typically do Happy Cow and then Big Mac in the same story. But with insects, you can. And I think it's partly because we all feel like they've sort of entered our domain. You know, it's like they've done a broken entry and we can sort of defend ourselves to them. So, yeah, I agree. I feel like you can just go for the insects. I think you can let them wriggle and die.
I think, though, the danger here is when you've got a core brand and you want to extend it, which is clearly what Aerogard's doing, what you don't want to do is put your core brand in jeopardy. And the core brand of Aerogard is stuff you spray on yourself. So the last thing they want to do is make their brand seem overly poisonous. So yeah, they are treading a fine line there, but I get why they're doing it.
I just find the Aerogard ads so bizarre and confusing. I don't know, is it talking to bugs? Is it talking to humans? Why am I feeling sorry for bugs? And then suddenly killing them at the same time? I just think that there was a real missed opportunity here, to your point, that, you know, I don't know what plant-based actives are. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds like it's planet-friendly and maybe a bit friendlier to pets and humans. So why you wouldn't make that really clear when the competitors are all about toxic, kill everything with one spray and leave the house while you're doing it? You know, it seems like they really missed a trick.
Every brand wants to be the drink of summer. For a long time, it was English favourite Pimm's until we realised England has no summer. Last year, it was Aperol Spritz, the drink that says, I don't know who owns this boat, but it'll look great on my Insta. This year, according to some definitely non-sponsored journalism, seltzer will be the drink of the summer. But I just have one question. What is it?
Brookvale Union Boozy Seltzer. Refresher.
Brookvale Union, it's refresher-licious.
Based on that ad, I'm going to assume it's LSD. PR. Is marketing just like Beetlejuice? You say summer seltzer 3 times and it just happens?
Not exactly, although I do love a seltzer, so my summer will be. The rise of seltzers actually coincided with this perfect storm of a number of factors. So for the last few years, there's been this real increase in health-conscious drinkers, and you can see that everywhere you go through this whole new category of low-carb beers, for example. And then you add to that spiked seltzers, as they're known in the US, actually had their first summer of seltzer in 2019 before we promptly went into a global pandemic where people were looking for easy drinking options to have at home. Add to that we then started to pile on the COVID kilos, and we're going, what is a low sugar, low calorie, low carb option I can drink whenever I like? And so obviously brands have gone and capitalised on that, and advertising is as successful and at its best when it's obviously riding a wave of what's already happening in culture.
And what's really interesting as well is it is a trend partly because it is everywhere. So we've got 30 new seltzer brands that have just launched in the last 12 months alone. And partly that's driven, in addition to all that stuff you've just mentioned, partly being driven by the fact that the beer and the spirit makers have got into it because it's a much lower tax than what they tax a lot of the spirits. So they can do it and, you know, really benefit from just getting some fizzy water, adding some flavour, a bit of booze and less tax. It's a bit of a winner.
I think the only problem here, and I don't think it's insurmountable, but in Australia, like in America, seltzer's a term that they've used for soda water forever.
Yeah.
In Australia, we've only heard seltzer in terms of Alka-Seltzer, which is what you use when your stomach's upset. So I think that'll take a bit to get over. Hate the ad, but I really love a seltzer. I think they're a great drink.
Well, I'm actually launching an alcoholic Alka-Seltzer. It not only gets you pissed, but you don't feel sick the next day.
Perfect, perfect.
Alko-Seltzer.
Oh, Alko-Seltzer. Oh, hang on.
No.
This is why you're in advertising. I get it. You're very good. One big summer ad that caught our eye was this BCF ad about the housing market.
Going, sold.
Yay. I've heard home.
Sorry, guys. However...
Go on, BCF. How can we help that young family put a roof over their head?
Don't let these crazy housing prices bring your spirits down. There's still a way to live the dream. I'll show you guys around. If you're into open plan, then this place is for you. Natural lighting, soaring ceilings, $1 million views. An in-ground pool, a tanning bed, a built-in home alarm. You can have a lake house and another on a farm. A home here in the outdoors is BCFing fun. Hey!
There you go, kids. The lighter side of homelessness. Get a tent. That's...
BCFing.
Emily, is get a tent the right pitch?
Yeah, I want to like this ad and I feel like it has some good stuff going for it. But ultimately, in going for a new target, you know, they're obviously going for a slightly younger audience. They want to tap into the millennial audience, probably recognised the previous work was preaching to the converted a little bit, middle-aged men talking about boating, camping and fishing, probably already going to the shop about boating, camping and fishing. So with this new audience, though, they've tapped into an insight that I just feel has taken some of the lightness and the BCFing fun out of the work. You know, it feels funny on the outside, but then it has this sort of undercurrent of brutal reality. You can't own a home, so go camping for a weekend.
Yeah, it's a cracker, isn't it? It's a cracker. I think it's a cracker. I think it's a cracker having a go at the boomers at the beginning. I think that's brilliant. And for me, I think about BCF. They're probably the best new retail advertiser, you know, in the last decade. Traditionally, a brand like BCF, like an Aussie disposal brand, it would literally be like a PowerPoint slide with the various prices, you know, and horrible pictures. And yet what they've managed to do is create a brand with having fun. It's incredibly well produced. It's beautifully written. Surprise, surprise, it's done by some people who are literally the very best in the world, have attached their skill to the creation of a camping retail outlet. And I like the fact that they're having a crack at what's going on in society, and I think what will happen is that the younger audience will reward them for having that crack.
I'm completely untod here because I agree with Russell 100%. And I think this, you're right that it's kind of an awful place that they're playing in, but in a sense, it's like, do you know what? You're never going to earn this, so spend all that money on having really fucking great camping holidays. And they are quite expensive, all this stuff. So it's, you know, well, stuff it. This is your life. You might as well enjoy it to the max. So I really like this.
I mean, millennials also, the other insight about millennials is that they were the first generation to actually value life experiences over traditional modes of ownership. And, you know, it's what came first.
They had no choice.
Yeah, exactly. What came first, chicken or the egg? Yeah. But at the same time, I do think that what's clever about this ad is that they've gone, you know what, you can have the absolute best of your most unattainable dream home for a lot less in the great outdoors.
Yeah, no, it's exactly the same thing as having your third house, being able to shit in a hole in the forest.
It's wonderfully coercive, isn't it?
It wouldn't be summer if we weren't bugged by bugs, which is why during the 1963 Royal Tour of Australia, the CSIRO used a secret formula to keep flies away from the Queen. Mortine was impressed. It asked inventor Doug Waterhouse for the recipe, which he gave to them for free. That recipe became Aerogard. But I have another theory about the lack of flies around the Queen. This week, we're handing over the pitch to the young bloods, the next and hopefully last generation of advertisers. But are the children our future, or is the future, like the ABC audience, free of young people? First up, a pitch to convince us to stop having kids.
Hi, I'm Jessie.
And I'm Sean.
And we're from Youngbloods Vic.
A lot of factors go into deciding whether you're ready not to have a child. Do we ever think if the world is ready?
We did, and we think young people should too. We hope you enjoy.
What do you think it's going to be?
Oh, it's a boy. I just know it. For sure.
For their sake, it's a girl.
My money's on a girl.
Okay, guys, just like to say a few words.
It's time.
3, 2, 1.
Should we take what, Blue? Honey, can you take it?
No, I don't.
Honey, someone, anyone take it.
Just one child produces 58 tonnes of carbon emissions every year. Stop raising children. Stop raising carbon emissions. A message from the No More Kids Society.
Good stuff, young people. And now a pitch to convince us to have more kids.
Hi, I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Hannah from Youngbloods New South Wales.
We worked off the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the kids you have aren't the kids you want.
But the more kids you do have, the better the odds are of getting a good one.
Every man produces 7 million sperm a day. They can't all be duds. Bet on the next one. A message from the Have More Kids Collective.
Good stuff, young people. But what will our panel think? Russell, what do you think? Which one did you prefer?
So, Will, I have, as you know, I've got a deep Victorian bias, so I really did enjoy the first one. However, the second one just made me laugh, and in the end, I just enjoyed it more for that reason. So, number 2, New South Wales.
Emily, what about you?
I thought they were both excellent. It's really hard to choose, and both based on a really legit insight and truth, so very difficult. But I think actually the first one, I love the gender reveal hijack. I thought that was very clever.
Pia, which did you prefer?
Oh, I thought they were both really good. Two of the best pictures I think I've ever seen on Gruen, to be honest, and you know, some of the best work I've seen in my career.
Yeah, see, in your face advertising, people watching. The next generation is coming for you, and they've been trained by watching this show.
I'm going to pick the first one.
The first one. All right, Dee, you have the opportunity to either like make it a tie or break the tie.
Look, they were both so good. I want to kind of make it a tie because they both deserve it, but I hate gender reveals with a freaking passion, so hijacking it so well. And also the fact I've got 3 kids makes me want to go for the no kids even more, so I'm going number 1.
Well, congratulations to technically Victoria, who were number 1, who won, but you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to say it's a tie. So you're both going to get a trophy. I've overruled. We'll deliver this to you in 9 months. Now to brands that want to remove wrinkles from your face and money from your pocket. Aussies have the highest per capita spend on cosmetic procedures in the world. And during the pandemic, demand for injectables like filler and Botox blew up like an influencer's lips. Fun fact, Botox is actually a brand name. Less fun fact, it sounds for botulinum and toxin. In Australia, advertising Botox isn't allowed except for all over reality TV and all over Instagram and TikTok.
And now I want to do my crow's feet. Can you see me?
And all over YouTube, where this year Botox released a series of short documentaries directed by Oscar winner Errol Morris.
I'm Stephen, I'm 52, and I'm a makeup artist. I met my husband in 2002. That afternoon, I called my friends and I just said, I've met the man I'm going to marry. I miss those eyes.
Do you think you could fall in love again?
Yes, I'm so ready, you know? I'm ready. At the end of the day, I'm a hopeful romantic.
So, what do you see when you look at yourself?
I see a really long life lived of vast experiences.
My favourite part of that short documentary, the long documentary of side effects listed at the end. There are other documentaries in this series, including a drag performer and a single mum, but I'm interested in the widower. Dee, why allude to death in an ad for something that's selling eternal youth?
Because we know that most Botox users are aged between 45 and 55. They're primarily women, although men, it's increased 403% since the year 2000. It's known as Botox. And we know 67% of this age group is partnered, but we know fear of ageing alone is a very, very real thing. So what this is really cynically doing is make sure you look good enough in case your partner dies to find someone else.
Does it really say that?
I definitely got the same strategy.
Yeah.
It's definitely saying, be ready for love part 2. But something about the editing and the music and just the way it's put together makes it just feel sad. And then I feel like it just is more like Botox for sad faces.
But the edit.
Well, how can you tell if he's happy or sad? He's like, when I look at my face, I see all my stories. I'm like, no, you erased all your stories.
But also, isn't the fact he's 52 supposed to be a good thing? Like, I thought you'd want someone who looks younger than 52. He kind of looks 52. Isn't Botox supposed to make you look younger?
I just think it's a bit of an overclaim to suggest that a bit of Botox will help you move on from possibly one of the most traumatic experiences of your life. I have life insurance clients who would not even dare to allude to the fact that life insurance could help you following the death of a partner. So I think, yeah, it's out of poor taste for me.
Well, I mean, maybe they should combine it with the life insurance ads. They're just like, now that you got your payout, get some Botox and get back out there. And you know what? We've thrown in your partner's old eyes. Here you go, you can have the eyes. That's what you liked. We cut out the eyes, you can have the eyes.
I love the language they use as well, though. In Australia, you're allowed to say it relaxes your frown lines. But what they're not saying is it paralyses your muscles. They'll never use the word paralyse. And that's essentially what it does, allegedly. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't know. But if I did know, I would know that it would paralyse your lines that I don't have there just by coincidence.
No, they just went away, didn't they?
They went.
Don't know what
drank
happened.
Water.
Yeah.
Lots of water.
Yeah. You, me and Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. I love the way she says once, she said, I tried Botox once, but I didn't like it. And you think, fuck, it must have been a strong dose, because the forehead hasn't moved since.
We, and by we, I mean some people who work on this show that aren't me, have noticed the language used to sell supermarket products is now borrowing from cosmetic surgery.
After 40, we need anti-aging care that works.
Revitalift Filler Serum, Revitalift Laser. Unlike regular collagen, it penetrates better.
It looks similar to a syringe, but it's actually for external use only.
Oh, shit, I've been using it to self-vaccinate. Are these ads for cosmetics or cosmetic surgery?
They are ads for cosmetics in the guise of cosmetic surgery ads. So what's really smart about that is that they are able to actually appeal to both people who have had surgery and people who haven't. For people who haven't, the way that they're talking about these products, there's a suggestion or an implicit suggestion that these products, because of the way they are more powerful than your average cosmetics, and therefore almost as close to getting cosmetic surgery as you can, which is a great option if you can't afford it or if you're scared. And it also works the other way around, because people who have had surgery can, for some reason, it looks as though these products have been actually developed by the cosmetic surgery industry. So it's a great way of maintaining the work you've already had done. I do find the application of moisturiser through a syringe a bit unnecessary, however. It took so long. I was just like, really? Surely you just want to just get it out. Who's got time for that in the morning?
Just get it out of the jar and put it on your finger.
These ads work because we want them to work. And I say this as someone who's just bought the world's most expensive skincare because it was designed by a professor. And a little voice inside my brain says, Dee, you work in marketing, you know it's bullshit. And the other voice inside my brain says, Dee, it was designed by a professor, hand over your credit card. And guess what I did? Handed over the credit card.
I believe that professor got his degree at that McDonald's University. This year, Zoe Foster-Blake laughed all the way to the Zoe Foster Bank, selling a stake of her company for $89 million. Merry Brixmas, everyone. Here's what she sells.
Go-To answers the call for skincare essentials that nourish and protect your skin. Simple. There's no fake science or bullshit, just super clean, plant-based ingredients that look after and support your skin, no matter how complicated it is or how scared you are by the word alpha-hydroxy acid.
Thank you, Professor Blake. Go-To Skincare also has a men's line, a kids line and a gin line. The brand sells one sheet mask every minute, a product that promises to make me look even amazinger, though not talk betterer. The positivity is quite a departure from L'Oreal's fixation on harsh words like anti-aging and anti-sagging. Emily, self-love or self-hate, which sells more?
I'm going to say both. I love Go-To, and I think it's, it's the dove of the next generation with the self-love and, the no bullshit and, great range, lots of personality, all that kind of stuff. But it only speaks to one side of Emily. There's another side. We are all multi-dimensional people. We are complex creatures. And there are moments when you've seen a bad selfie or decided that your nose looks a bit wonky on television, or, you've had something strange for breakfast and feel gross, and you want to hear a little bit of the kind of self-hate stuff, and that's what makes you purchase.
There's probably a bit of an age divide, though, I would imagine. So let's say under 40, Go-To is care for your skin, and then the other stuff is over 40, where the message is more about repair. Zoe is a really good writer. She's able to write wonderfully well and have great empathy and create tribes of people that just really, really love the brand. She then tells a story using social media platforms and uses all that amazing creativity to get a really great payday, and good on her. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
I think Russell's right about the age thing, though. I mean, her products are beautiful, and if I'm in a hotel room, a nice little face mask is nice. But, the nourish and the plant-based is all nice if you're, her age and young and beautiful. But when you're getting older, you're like, I just want more active ingredients. I want all the chemicals. Yeah.
So I can see a direct line between the Erigard ad and the beauty product, which is plant-based. Don't need that.
Don't need it.
I really just need some heavy-duty chemicals
100%.
now. Beauty brands are filled with some of the most amazing claims you'll ever hear. L'Oreal claims to reduce 100% of wrinkles, except when you squint, which gives me frown lines. It says 21 people noticed a change to 100% of their wrinkles. Who conducted that rigorous study? L'Oreal, which is why there's only one beauty product I trust. Wiltox. It works too. Here's what I looked like before. Guaranteed to remove all your spicks and specks. Please our panel, Russell Howcroft, Emily Taylor, Pet Chowdhury and Dee Madigan. We will leave you tonight with an exciting slice of Aussie advertising history, courtesy of one of my top 2 Russells.
G'day, Gruen folk. How you doing? It's Russell Crowe here. Thank you very much for noticing some of my earlier work. Yes, it is true. Part of the bridge between live performance with bands and theatre. For me, via a few bits and pieces on TV, were 3 TV commercials. The first one was for Coca-Cola. It was a short-term Nissan promotion.
Let's see that. Find the secret words in the bottom of specially marked cans. Win the Surf Action Pack, including a Nissan Navara.
You have to remember, they're only commercials, but for me, there was always about the character I was playing. So there's characters to be found in each of them. The second one was for the State Bank.
Coming in, boys?
Yeah, we will. $10 for wipes. The joys of ATMs or some bullshit like that. And the third one was quite a significant gig at the time. Every young actor my age was going for it. It was the last of the series of AIDS awareness commercials.
Use a shared needle and you run a very real risk of catching AIDS.
The girl in the commercial is Rebecca Rigg, and she's had a wonderful career too. So, yeah, it was a pretty big gig, and that's the same year that I started making feature films.
Oh, pretty cool. No idea what happened to him after that, but I have just one more question for Russell. Will we see you in any more ads? Well, don't hold your breath, and we'll see you next week.
Now, I've yet to use my fame to do an endorsement commercial, which is a different thing. I seem to be quite out of step with the times. Some silly idea I have about respecting the art form that I work in, but that doesn't mean that I won't. Sooner or later, somebody will come up with a situation, and you can be guaranteed it will be for at least one whole fuck ton of money. And you can also be guaranteed that at that point in my life, if I do that, you can be reassured that I have given all my fucks away. Cheers.